Hey, what's going on everybody? Cruz here. Welcome back to another video. Today I want to show you something kind of cool. I've been working on it for a few weeks now and I think it's finally ready to show you. I want to show you my brand new guitar station here in my studio. Let's get it! If you've been watching my channel, you may have noticed that I've recently changed up the way I do demos. Not necessarily how I record them, but the visual of it. I used to do the demos right here on my desk, but I found that it was getting a little bit too claustrophobic and I was limited in space, and if I wanted to do larger sized products or like my pedal board, it was a challenge, and I had been wanting to change up how I demoed products here for a long time. I had this concept of like being able to have certain products always on and accessible. So like having one guitar input going into multiple different products. So for example, having my pedal board always on, which houses the HX Stomp, but what if I wanted to incorporate, let's just say, the Pod Go, or maybe the Matrix 2 by Sonicate? I realized the need for this as I got more and more into doing the presets that are now available on my website. How can I maximize my output here in my studio? I started dreaming up this idea of having some sort of sidecar. A sidecar that could house all of these components. I get a random call one day from my brother-in-law who said, hey, I'm cleaning out this building and they're just throwing away all of these racks. Would you be interested in them? And it was literally exactly what I had wanted in terms of this new setup that I dreamt of. So I said, yes, bring it to me ASAP. It was a little beat up, but I cleaned it up. I added some 4-inch casters on there to lift it up and also to make it so that it's easily movable. And then I bought these rack-mounted sliding drawers so I could actually put stuff in and keep it there like a little mini pedal board and slide it out anytime I was ready to use it. As you can clearly see, always on the floor here is my personal pedal board ready to go. That pedal board also houses the HX Stomp. If I'm working on presets or I want to run a demo through a different rig, I could easily use now the Pod Go by Line 6 or now the Matrix. The idea is to continue growing this thing out. Maybe a Tone X, maybe Kemper, maybe actual full-size Helix. All of that stuff is now possible with this setup. And that brings us to the sponsor of today's video, Stoy Pedals. Last year, Stoy Pedals sent me a bunch of products to demo, and one of those products that they sent me was the Collector, which is their 2-channel loop switcher. I had mentioned in that video that loop switcher was so impressive. In fact, it reminded me a lot of this like really advanced AB Morley switch. This is an AB box, and essentially what it does is allow you to have one input and be able to go into 2 separate outputs. You can either share the outputs together and have them both on, or you can AB the signal, which is really, really great. But the Collector takes that to a completely different level. Yes, I have the ability to actually A-B something because it has 2 separate outputs, but I can also now loop in signals as well. So I immediately started incorporating this product into my rig and using it every single day. They have made it possible with the Collector to actually get this rig put together and have it logistically work. So one of the first things I did was buy this 4-inch wide Velcro so that I could turn the top of the rack unit into a pedal board essentially. So I used the soft side of the Velcro so I could successfully mount pedals, especially with pedals with Velcro onto here, and create mini pedal boards or put temporary pedal boards together depending on the video that I'm working on. Then when it came down to actually piecing everything together, the Stoy Collector came in clutch. So the first thing I'm doing is plugging my guitar input, my Runway audio cable, in the input of the first looper here. And then in loop 1, I've titled it Demos. That loop has these patch cables always ready to go, so I could just plug it into a pedal like the one I'm showcasing right here, right now, to be able to run into the looper, and I can now run that pedal through any one of the rigs that I have set up here. Loop 2 is called My Rig. That's my pedal board here, which is not only my pedal board and my personal effects and overdrives and compression, so on and so forth, but it also has the HX Stomp on there, so I could easily access all of my amp settings and effects to be able to run these products through. This input and output go to a patch bay that's mounted on the back of the rack, and that patch bay then is fed into the Audition pedal on my pedal board. So that allows me to now place this pedal in my rig after compression, before effects, so that I can successfully demo a product that way as well. We then have the ability to choose what output I want to feed. So I can choose this output here, which is now titled EQP, and that goes to my EQP KT. That's the Clark Tennant Pultic style EQ. Now it's not a pre, but I do use it when I record bass. So I will dial in a bass amp on my HX Stomp and then simply feed into that EQ so that I can use it to kind of EQ the bass and round it out very, very nicely. But most of the time it's on output A, which is called link. And that just means I'm actually linking it to the next collector. So from the link out, it goes into link here, which is basically guitar in. And then we have 2 more loops here. And then we can go into the pod go, which is also stationed right here, easily accessible. Or we can go into, for example, the Matrix 2 by Sonicake, which is easily accessible right there. After that, we then have the ability to again choose 2 separate outputs, right? We can go into either the amp right here, which I could then plug a 1/4-inch cable out of that going into one of the amps here in my studio, or I can go to the WA output, which is short for that warm audio EQ pre. Then we have these tuner out portions on both of the collectors. That allows me to then feed a tuner like, for example, this rock stock mini tuner right here and have it on all the time and not have it affect my signal in any kind of way. So it's not within the loop. Then the other tuner out I'm using as a direct out. I can go out of the tuner out directly into my DAW, allowing me to simultaneously record a clean signal unaffected by any of my effects, as well as the affected signal. There's one thing I want to say about the collector, and this is my honest opinion. Setting it up was so easy. Like, it made my vision a reality and also didn't make it complicated. There are a lot of different ways I could have approached this system or this kind of a setup. I think this was, number one, the most a cost-effective way, and also the easiest way, and also the cleanest way. Because it is a looper, that means that when something is not engaged, when a loop is not engaged, it's essentially saving my tone, right? Retaining my tone, because it's pulling both the effect and its cable length out of the chain. I just want to quickly show you how easily I can go back and forth through all of these rigs just by pressing a switch. So for example, my rig is currently engaged. Let's hear that. Since I have this brand new Night School Catalan Bred overdrive, let's throw it on, see what it sounds like. All right, so now let's quickly take that rig off and throw on the pod go and see what that sounds like. I'll pull it out so you can see it engaged here. All right, that's the pod go. Let's pull out the Matrix Sonicake. Well, the Matrix by Sonicake, sorry. And just like that, we shut it off. And the cool thing is, again, clean signal is still passing through. So that's my guitar going directly into my interface with no amps in between. But we could just throw on an amp really quickly and have my... just have everything immediately go back to amp effect goodness. Thank you all so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section. I hope it's inspired you to set up some kind of epic guitar rig of your own. If you've enjoyed this video and want to see others like it, be sure to check out some of the videos that are popping up alongside of me. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next week.